Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to another great upcoming episode of Next Talks. And today we have a very interesting and special guest coming from Roche Diabetes, which is Florian Schindler, who is leading the global head of R&D at, as we mentioned, Roche Diabetes. So first things first, Florian, how are you doing?
Hi, Dario. I'm really doing well. And thanks for the opportunity for this interview.
Absolutely. So we are filming that on a Monday, and Mondays are usually quite tough, but I believe this conversation will be just terrific. So let's see what we prepared for you today. I believe some very interesting questions, and I would like to start and kick off the discussion with my first question, which is, can you tell me about your career journey and what motivated you to work within the healthcare industry and in particular in diabetes?
Yes. So actually, I don't have a classical background for the pharmaceutical industry. So back over 20 years ago, I was trained to be a mechanical engineer. And so at that time, my vision was to build cable car systems in ski resorts. And I guess that's connected to my passion of skiing. I also was brought up in the north part of the Alps in Bavaria in Germany. But however, I think there was another important milestone in my life, and that was when I was working as a paramedic after school. So at that time, it was still mandatory to do military service in Germany, and I chose to do an alternative service. Got actually trained as a paramedic, worked in the Red Cross, and I really loved actually and liked that job. And early in my age, I actually got a lot of experience with medical emergency situations. And also at that time, I already realized how important technology can be and actually be the difference between life and death for people in such situations. So I guess, somewhere both elements pathway my journey into the medtech industry. And then I joined Roche 16 years ago. I really enjoyed that journey. I really enjoy working for Roche. I could grow a lot in my profession, but also actually as a person. And coming from a small kind of village countryside in Bavaria, being with Roche and working in that international environment, it really enriched me. Also with all the people that I work across the globe, also this cultural background. So this was really enriching, and I'm quite happy for that.
Yeah, indeed, very interesting mix, I have to say, which leads me to the next question, which is, what are your priority areas of focus being the global head of R&D at Roche Diabetes Care?
Yeah, so in terms of priority, there are two focus area. One is like in the innovation of technology, and the other area is like looking into cost effectiveness of the solutions we bring to the market. So when we look into the technology and innovation, I mean, Roche, we have a long history in diabetes management. 50 years ago, we were the pioneers that brought actually the capabilities of measuring glucose into the homes of the people with diabetes. And that completely revolutionized the way of how diabetes have been managed over the last decades. And I want to continue on this legacy. I want to work with my team on the next generation of leapfrogging solutions that we can bring into the hands of the people living with diabetes to help them to better manage their conditions, and also then in the end have a better life living with that disease. And on the cost side, if you look into diabetes today, I mean, it's one of the biggest and fastest growing chronic diseases that we have on this globe. And that also puts a lot of financial pressure for our healthcare systems, but also for the private pockets for people with diabetes. So also, it's not just only looking into innovating with the technology piece, we also need to look into that what we're providing to the market is cost effective. So that's the other part of the prioritization.
Thank you very much, Florian. Let's move ahead with the third question, which is, how have your personal and professional experiences influenced these?
So when I was working as a paramedic, I have seen quite some people living with diabetes. And also at that time, I could see really the ugly outcome that diabetes can create with people that cannot manage their conditions. And so I remember this patient that we brought twice in a year to the hospital, where they get the arm and the leg amputated. And I mean, this really created a mark for me what this disease can cause. And so for me now, coming with my engineering background, and looking into the landscape of technology that we have available these days, I believe we really can bring great and innovative solutions into the hands of the people that live with diabetes to avoid these situations that I have seen, to really help these people to manage their conditions and have a better medical outcome, yeah, living with this disease.
Thank you. As we all know, you have expertise in digital diagnostics. So why is digitalizing diabetes care so important, and how can it help people with diabetes and healthcare systems around the world?
Yeah, so if you take our My Sugar app as an example for a digital product, I mean, this is a digital logbook that allows people with diabetes to track their glucose values, their nutrition intake, their activity tracking, medications they take. But also this app helps them to follow strict kind of medical protocols they need to follow. It also helps them to do decisions based on certain data and decision criteria they need to follow. And now if you put yourself into the shoes of a person that has diabetes, these people need to do 60 to 80 decisions per day, which are related to their disease, which are related to their health. And you can imagine this is not always so easy for everybody to do this all the time. And that's where I could see definitely this digital capabilities that we have these days. Like, I mean, we carrying this all the time with us, our smartphone, and then having such an app as My Sugar. I mean, this allows to remind that people with diabetes, if they need to follow a task, to follow and to be compliant with the medical protocols, or when they need to do decisions, as an example, how much insulin they need to dose, that they can take this app and have this little helper all the time with us. And that's, I can really see that these products bring a huge kind of benefit for people living with diabetes.
Definitely. I have to say, I recently saw a very interesting presentation at Next at our event in Vienna from your colleague Hadi about that particular app. So I was quite fascinated about the design thinking and the whole process, how you really engage with the patients in a super proper way. So congratulations.
Thank you. Thank you.
Next question. Where do you see the future of innovation in diabetes management? It's headed.
Yes. So I see actually three areas of innovation that will happen. I mean, one, what we just talked about, is the digital space. And there, so specifically around kind of this capability of artificial intelligence, I mean, we will see more kind of tools, products coming on the market around decision support. And here we will move more into kind of predictive algorithms. So means today, I mean, we bring a lot of tools that patients can historically looking back on the data and see actually correlations of the glucose value, their nutrition intake, and sport activities or whatever, or medications they took, how actually the glucose value has developed. So they can learn based on the historical data. But these algorithms will help people living with diabetes to look more into the future, a few hours ahead. So based on your current glucose value, based on your nutrition, the food you have eaten, and based maybe on your activity, it will help to predict the glucose value, how it will develop over the next hour. And that will help the patients to actually avoid risk, to prevent risks that might occur like a hypo. So there I see one area. The other area that we will see continuous kind of evolution on how we measure glucose. I mean, as said, 50 years ago, we brought this capability of measuring glucose at home with a blood drop and a test strip and a small device. You could actually do this, and it's still a really solid and valid solution today around the globe for many kind of countries. But then in the last 10 years, we saw the continuous monitoring solutions arising. I mean, this is the the minimal invasive small patches that you can wear on the arm that measures glucose subcutaneously 24 hours. And what we're seeing today is that more and more solution and technology will pop up that potentially one day will allow to measure glucose non-invasive. So that will be another kind of innovation curve that we will see continuously growing. And then there will be a third space, I believe, where we see a lot of innovation, and that's around that area of managing the comorbidity risk. So many people with diabetes, they have a high risk that they develop a second disease, like a cardiac problem or a kidney problem. And one of the challenges is to identify this early. So here we will see also more and more solutions moving into the homes of these patients, that they're able to measure cardiac marker or kidney markers themselves, and then actually together with the healthcare professionals, allow them to early identify these risks or identify and diagnosing these second diseases so that they can be treated early. So that's another area where I could see innovation will happen.
Fantastic. Thanks a lot, Florian. And the last question in the regular question block is quite unique, I would say. We speak a lot about diversity, so which leads me to the question, which is, with managing a very diverse team in dynamic markets all over the world, what leadership advice can you share with our audience?
Yes, so I believe leaders today, what is important is you as a leader, you need to have a strong vision that you believe yourself, that you bring into your role, that the people also buy in and follow you. And specifically in this time of uncertainties and a lot of changing of external factors, that you cannot influence. I mean, these vision, these overarching goal that you set, I mean, these are like North Stars for the teams. And that's important that we also reminding ourselves that's what we want to achieve, because the plans and the strategies we put in place, they get leopardized by these changing influence factors, and we need to adapt. But what needs to be important is that this vision is strongly anchored in what we're doing, and this is also reminding people all the time. And I always use the metaphor. I mean, I said I love skiing and I love to do ski touring. So when I plan a ski tour, what I put down is my goal of I plan to climb a peak and ski down that mountain. And I potentially have a route in mind that I climb up and ski down. But when I then actually doing the ski tour, I only can decide when I'm in contact with the real situation, because I need to check the snow conditions, I need to check the weather, and then I define the final route that I climb up and ski down, because I need to consider avalanche dangers and all that stuff. So, but what doesn't change is my actually goal to achieve that peak. Another element that I find extremely important as leaders, that you are intrinsically motivated, not just by the role that you're leader, but also by the content, what the team that you're leading, the organization you're leading, what is created, the product, the services. So I think this makes you authentic, and it also makes you connecting to the team that work on the operative base. So really to be intrinsic motivated of what the team is doing, I think this is also key for strong leadership. And then I think another element that is for me really important is that as a leader, you need to show humbleness, and you need to be humble. I mean, that means you need to be approachable for the people, but you also need to understand and also accept that people make mistakes. And you also actually need to give people credits. You need to be able to let them shine. I always give them stage time as well, that they can actually also show not just to you, but also potentially the leaders above you, what they are capable of. So this would be my advice for the leadership these days.
Thanks a lot, very inspiring. And let's move forward to the last question block, which are our favorite part, or the quick fire questions. And here we would just simply like to hear some short answer about your preferences, which leads me to the first question, which is your favorite musician.
Nirvana.
Oh, very nice. I like Kurt Cobain and Dave Grohl as well, so very, very good choice. Next one, best day of your life?
A powder day in Utah, skiing.
Okay. Next question, most inspiring historical person?
Isaac Newton.
Bill Gates or Steve Jobs?
Steve Jobs.
Okay. Last book which you read?
Highly Processed People.
And favorite global leader?
Winston Churchill.
Very interesting. Florian, thanks a lot for this very inspiring and intriguing conversation. I really enjoyed it a bit, and hopefully seeing you also at one of our conferences in person. Thanks so much.
Thank you as well.